Hi, welcome to Galaxy Dungeon. In this video I'm going to be analyzing one of the most iconic dungeons of Dragon Quest III. It's one of the most popular RPG video games of the 80s worldwide, and is one of the most popular games of the Dragon Quest franchise. After playing through and analyzing the dungeons of Dragon Quest III, one stood out above the others. It has excellent traps, puzzles, monsters, and isn't too linear or non-linear, but rather in between. The Pyramid. The Pyramid is in the middle of the desert, and the geography of the world is very similar to the real world, so you can expect to find the Pyramid in North Africa, because that's where Egypt is in the real world. To progress through the story, you have to get a magic key from this region, which lies in the Pyramid. As soon as you enter it, you can tell that it's different from the other dungeons of the game. The first floor is the outside of the pyramid. There are a lot of traps, and it introduces Cannoboxes, reoccurring monsters that are in most Dragon Quest games. Instead of being a random encounter, like most monsters in the game, it looks like a treasure chest until you open it. These monsters are extremely common throughout the game, and this is the first time you'll see them, so it's the most memorable. They're pretty hard to beat at this point, and they're called man-eating chests, and some upgraded versions of them later on call them mimics. They're a cartoonish anime version of mimics from Dungeons & Dragons. The monsters make sense to fit the pyramid style, as they're mostly mummies, and the mummies can summon zombie variants called horks to defend themselves, and it features new versions of monsters that you keep seeing throughout the game. The trapdoors will send the player to an empty basement that's full of monsters, where you'll have to look around to get out. If you look closely, you can find a secret passage that leads to a hidden floor. However, you'll need the magic key at the end to get through it. All the treasure in the first floor is either empty because bandits have already stole them, or they're actually man-eating chests. However, this makes sense because the first and second floor have the easiest treasure chests to find. Then there's a pathway that leads to a staircase to the right side of the dungeon. The second floor is a maze with 2 staircases and 1 empty treasure chest. It has several dead ends and is a challenge to figure out a way through, although it isn't too elaborate. One leads to a dead end with more empty chests, the other leads to a third floor with 2 staircases that both lead to a door you need the magic key to unlock. In the third floor, there's a puzzle you need to solve to get the magic key. You have to figure out based on a rhyme that you have to press a certain switch first, and if you press them out of order, you'll fall into the second floor, which is the maze. Then, you can get the magic key and open the door to the higher levels of the dungeon, where you can get many different items if you're capable of fighting an army of mummies non-stop, and there's a flashy suit that you can give to a jester. In the basement, there's a hidden area that's pretty hard to find, but it's worth it because the prize is the golden claw. However, it's technically a booby trap because it's cursed, and if you try to equip it to any of your characters, you'll have to get out quickly because the monsters will overwhelm you until you die. This area has a magic spell that nullifies the escape spell. By some miracle, if you strategize and make it out far enough to use the escape and return to the village, you can sell it for a lot of money. Plus, you can use it to clobber some monsters on the way. Overall, this dungeon is pretty decent. The monsters are either themed for this dungeon or are newer variants. It has some interesting traps such as escape nullification, trapped doors, cursed items, and booby-trapped chests. Then, there's a puzzle which is significant among other JRPG puzzle dungeons at this time. At the time, a lot of the puzzles in JRPG dungeons were very simple. Plus, at the end, you get to see the pyramid at another angle from the top, and you can jump off it similar to most tower dungeons. It also opens up in a few places, making it more complex than most dungeons at the time. This is the most well-rounded dungeon of the game, and is my favorite dungeon I've explored since I've started analyzing JRPG dungeons. I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a wonderful day.